Choosing a Life by ginnyrules27, Chapter 12. Elle smiled as her mum passed the pitcher of iced tea to Akio. It had been a rare moment where they had the chance to visit her parents and her little sister, their travels taking them closer to Arendelle or visiting Amir and Emma. Aladdin and Jasmine had gifted the two of them with a small wing of the palace for them to use whenever they wanted to visit, or if they got bored of their castle in the Summerlands, which had been a wedding present from Emma's parents. And, of course, there was Akio's shadowing of Ben that they needed to fit into their schedules. No matter how old they got, he still insisted on being there for Ben since, as Akio would say, if Ben was going to refuse to have guards, he was going to have to put up with his best friends always being there. "I have to say, Elle, honey, you look beautiful," Ariel said. "Why, it's almost as if you're glowing." "Really?" Elle asked. "I hadn't noticed." "It's probably just the sun, Mum. I got some from when Akio and I went to Agrabah to visit Emma and Amir." Ariel nodded. "It's possible, but it's not exactly a tan. More of a—" She trailed off with a smile growing on her face. "Oh, what? Mum, what do you mean?" Elle asked, visibly confused as she looked over at Akio. "Don't look at me. I can't read minds like you can," Akio told her. "Dear, it's more of a pregnancy glow," Ariel said, keeping her voice as gentle as she could, even if she couldn't stop her smile from growing. Elle froze as she stared at her mother. "What? No, Mum, that can't be possible." "Who told you that?" Ariel asked, tilting her head as she looked at her daughter. "I just—" Elle said, her voice soft as she looked down. "It's been so long since we've got married, after all. It's been, what, 3 years and no pregnancy?" Ariel smiled softly as she lifted Elle's head so that she was looking into her daughter's eyes. "Every woman differs when it comes to pregnancy, sweetheart. And yes, for some women, there's the possibility of never getting pregnant. But until a doctor tells you that, it doesn't mean it's not possible." "But I haven't been nauseous or anything. I missed a couple of periods, but I thought that was stress." "And every pregnancy is different. Some women don't get nauseous." Elle paused and looked at Ariel, hope shining in her eyes. Mum, could I really be pregnant?" "I see no reason why not," Ariel told her, having heard her daughter's whisper. "Do you want to be pregnant?" "Of course, but what?" "I just don't want to get my hopes up," Elle said softly. "It might be harder to think that I am pregnant and turned out not to be." Akio reached over and gently squeezed her hand, as if reminding her he was still there, and Ariel gave her daughter a small, sad smile. "I might be wrong, honey, but I don't think I am," she said gently. "The way you're glowing, that's the kind of glow that could only come from pregnancy." Elle looked over at Akio. "We should find out for sure, shouldn't we? I'd hate for the press to find out before we even know," she whispered. Akio nodded. Anything to avoid that circus. Though somehow they hadn't gotten out that Mal was pregnant, so maybe Snow was reining them in. Granted, it was understandable with Emma being pregnant herself, something that had only recently been discovered, and which caused Amir to apparently bounce all around Ben's office when the two of them were able to get together for a meeting. Plus, finding out will give us peace of mind, he thought as he gave Elle a small smile, a smile that she returned. "What if I am pregnant?" Elle thought. "Oh, what if they're like me? There is a chance I could pass this on to my children. Granted, I'm not ashamed of my chair, and I can still swim with my family, thanks to Grandpa Popo and Grandfather Triton's gift after I was born. But still, I wouldn't want my child to be in their own chair, to never feel the grass under their feet, to always have to make sure there's a ramp or easy access to shops or restaurants. Eric leaned over and took Elle's other hand, giving it a gentle squeeze. Hey, the odds of your child inheriting your Cyranomylia is about 1 in 100,000, he said, his voice soft. But there's still a chance, Dad, Elle sighed. What if I do pass it on? Then we'll handle it, Akio said, and Elle looked over at him. She hadn't realized he had heard her. All I know is I will love our child, no matter what. Elle teared up as she heard that. Even after 3 years of marriage, hearing Akio say that was something she cherished. It felt like a dream. Akio leaned over and kissed her temple. Time to find out, Elle whispered as she gave him a small smile. Gods, I hope it's true. Mum, there's no chance you have a pregnancy test for Elle, do you? Melody said, though she couldn't help the megawatt smile that threatened to split her face in half at the thought of becoming an aunt. Do you? Eric asked, looking over at Ariel. I have 6 sisters, dear. I believe in being prepared, Ariel said with a small chuckle as she got up to get it. Elle shook her head fondly. Oh, Mum. Are you telling me that your mum could tell you might get pregnant, but I couldn't? Akio whispered in her ear. How many pregnant women have you been around in order to potentially notice the symptoms? Elle whispered back to him. Like Mum said, every pregnancy is different. Point taken. Elle couldn't help the small chuckle that slipped from her lips and leaned over to kiss his cheek. Here we go, Ariel said as she walked back. Thanks, Mum, Elle said with a small smile as she took the pregnancy test from her mother. Will you come with me? Of course, dear, Ariel said as she gently squeezed Eric's shoulder as the 2 women made their way to the bathroom. Mum? Elle asked as Ariel closed the door. Yes, sweetheart? Is it bad that I don't know what to hope? Elle said as she grabbed the bar that was right by the toilet in order to hoist herself up. Ariel held her chair steady in order to avoid it moving, and Elle potentially injuring herself. Elle having forgotten to put the brake on her chair. Not at all, honey, Ariel said. I remember when I was pregnant with you. In all honesty, I didn't know what to hope. I was still so new to being human, so human births were foreign to me. But you have nothing to worry about. Your father, sister, and I are going to be here for you no matter what. And your husband is not going to leave your side, knowing him. He is rather protective. Elle nodded, a small smile pulling at her lips. You picked a good one, Ariel chuckled as she handed Elle the pregnancy test. Now, how about we find out whether or not your family of 2 will become a family of 3? It could be more than that. After all, like you said, you have 6 sisters, so there has to be a set of twins in there somewhere. Elle chuckled, but took the test. Ariel turned around to give her daughter privacy. Once complete, and the processing time had passed, Elle stared at the pregnancy test in shock. Positive. It was positive. You should go tell Akio, Ariel whispered, a smile on her face as she looked at the test. Right. Elle nodded, though when she thought back on that day, she honestly wouldn't have been able to tell anyone who asked whatever it was her mother had said. She was just so overjoyed with the thought of being a mum. Elle? Elle smiled as she saw her husband as soon as she opened the door. Were you pacing outside the bathroom? Yes, Akio nodded, not looking at all ashamed or abashed at the honest answer. I was nervous for the result. I didn't want you to be disappointed if it was negative, and then not knowing was driving me crazy. Well, it's a good thing it was positive, Elle said, and giggled as Akio stared at her in shock. Positive? Elle nodded. We're going to have a baby. You're pregnant? See for yourself, she said as she handed Akio the test, and smiled as he looked at it in delighted shock. We're going to be parents, Akio said after a few minutes. Oh, I should call my parents. Find out what they want their grandparents' name should be. Akio, calm down. Elle chuckled, but looked over at Ariel and Eric. That is a good question, though. What do you guys want your grandparents' nickname to be? Melody squealed and rushed over to hug her big sister. Percy and Maddie are going to have a cousin! I'm going to be Auntie Melody! I think you're more excited about this than I am. Elle shook her head as she returned the hug Melody was giving her. You know I'm probably going to be talking to you about pregnancy things, right? Morning sickness, tiredness and whatnot. My brain is at your disposal, Melody promised. Oh, I can't wait to meet my little niece or nephew. There'll probably be a niece, most likely, Elle said. After all, with our family, there seems to be more girls than boys. As Mum said, she had 6 sisters after all, and Mum and Dad had 2 daughters. Plus, my grandparents, who were on my mum's side, had 2 daughters, Akio added, so the girl gene seems to be very dominant in our family. Eric smiled and walked over to Akio, reaching out to shake his hand. Congratulations, son. Thank you, sir, Akio said, returning the handshake. Akio, you've been married to my daughter for 3 years now. I think you can drop the sir, Eric chuckled. Yeah, that's not happening anytime soon. Akio shook his head. Elle chuckled. You know, I think your mum might be my mum for who's more excited about this. She told him. Oh, I dunno. My mum's pretty excitable. Akio teased before kissing the top of her head. True. Very true, Elle said with a small smile. We should probably make a doctor's appointment to confirm it, though. There's a chance of false positives. Well, there is a chance of that. Don't talk like that, Ariel told her. You deserve to be happy, sweetheart. But I completely understand wanting a doctor's appointment. I'll call the doctors after I call my parents, Akio said with a small smile. Elle nodded. Sounds good. Though I must admit, I'm a little surprised you're so calm about this. I'd have thought you'd be chomping at the bit to call Ben, she teased. Akio chuckled. You think I'm not? But you're my wife, and we just found out you're pregnant. You come first, he told her. Elle smiled and shook her head. Go ahead and call Ben. I can make the appointment. Yay! 'Cause you know I'm calling Ben at the same point. Oh, of course, Elle chuckled. Hey, with you being part mermaid, will that affect your pregnancy? Akio asked. I don't know. Mum? Elle asked, looking over at Ariel. Truthfully, that was something she was concerned about. After all, some of the staff had speculated that had been the reason why Elle was the way she was. Let's just say those 2 staff members had quickly been fired once their gossip had reached Eric and Ariel's ears. Ariel shook her head. It shouldn't. The baby might be born slightly early with your divine heritage, but then again you're only a quarter god. But the mermaid part shouldn't. Oh, good. Elle sighed in relief. The last thing she wanted was for something to happen to her little one. By all accounts, it should be a normal human pregnancy, Ariel said, reassuring her daughter. The doctor will know for sure, though, Elle said. Like I said, I'll give them a call to set up an appointment. That way, Akio can call whoever he wants to. Though they didn't have it confirmed, she had a feeling in her heart that she was truly pregnant. Emma's kid is going to be the youngest of the 3, even if they're all the same age, Elle thought with a small smile. why am I not surprised Akio and Amir managed to time their kids to be the same age as Ben's? Akio smiled, and they both grabbed their phones. Elle calling the doctor and Akio calling Ben.
You know I didn't mean for you to take my joke about your and Amir's kid shadowing mine literally,
Ben said, laughter in his voice as Akio told him. Well, you should know us better than that, Akio chuckled.
It seems so. But, in all seriousness, congrats, Akio. I'm really happy for you two. And so's Mal. Or she will be once she's back from visiting Lady Persephone, Lord Hades and Rhea.
No Hattie?
He's with Evan and Hashaki today, apparently. From what I've heard from Hattie when he's been over with presents from Lord Hades and Lady Persephone, it's one of the rare moments where Evan's not with Hermie and Hashaki's not with Robert, so Hattie's taking advantage of it.
Robert's one of Mal's crew?
Yep, he's a former wharf rat.
Ah, well, thanks, Ben. Elle's setting up an appointment with the doctor right now, but everyone's thrilled.
I'm glad to hear it,
Ben said. I am too, Ben, Akio said, a grin still threatening to split his face in two. Elle, she's been worried with how long it took her to get pregnant. So seeing that positive result, it's like a weight off our chests.
I'm glad, dude. You don't need that stress, Ben said, his voice gentle.
Thanks, Ben. You know you're the first outside the family to know? I mean, Elle's family.
Wait, Akio, did you call me before you called your parents?
Akio shook his head. I mean, we told Elle's parents before you. Her mum was actually picking up on the fact that Elle...
Not what I asked, Akio. Does your mum know?
Not yet, Ben shook his head.
Hang up with me and then call your mother. I'm honoured I was your first call, but you know she'll want to know.
I will. Akio nodded.
Good man. Ben grinned, and congrats again.
Akio smiled. Thanks, dude. Talk soon.
Of course, I've got to throw you a baby shower after all. Return the favour for the one you threw me and Mal.
Akio shook his head as he hung up, and quickly dialed his mum's number. Hey, Mum, you free? And preferably with Dad and Aunt Elsa if she's over. Of course, Akio. Is everything all right? Anna asked.
Everything's great, Mum. I have some good news.
Oh, wonderful. And your father and aunt just walked in. Let me put you on speaker. Christoph, Elsa, Akio's on the phone. He says he has good news. Well, let's let Akio tell us, shall we? Elsa said with a small chuckle. Akio grinned.
Elle's pregnant! You're going to be grandparents and a great aunt!
Anna squealed with delight. Oh, Akio! That's fantastic news!
We only just found out, Akio said, a grin still present on his face. Congratulations, son, Christoph said, the grin audible in his voice. Thanks, Dad. Only family know right now. Well, and Ben, but he's family anyway.
Elsa smiled. I'm happy for you, Akio. Thanks, Aunt Elsa. Akio grinned, bouncing on his toes, as if he couldn't contain his excitement much longer. I'm ecstatic! And Elle's been celebrating with our family.
As she should, Christoph said. Sven says hi, and of course, so does Olaf.
Well, say hello to them as well, Akio said, shaking his head. Also, no offence, but I'm likely not going to be using Olaf as a babysitter.
Completely understand, Akio told him. Let us know if you need anything, and we'll be happy to help.
Thanks, Dad. I'll let you know. I know Ariel and Eric are eager to help where they can as well. Well, a grandchild is something to be excited about, Anna said, her grin audible. But now go be with your wife. You've got all the time in the world to talk to us. Yes, Mum. Akio chuckled. Love you all. We love you too. Akio hung up the phone and went over to Elle and her family. Melody had gone upstairs to see about some fussy sounds over the baby monitor, but Ariel and Eric were still grinning ear to ear. We've got an appointment in a week, Elle said, and Akio grinned before kissing the top of her head. Boy, girl, he honestly didn't care. He was just happy he was going to be a parent with a woman he loved. How could his life get any better than this? End of chapter. Hi guys, hope you enjoyed that one.
Oh my god, that was gorgeous. I'm almost now crying.
Oh my god, Elle with her Siren Amelia. I've seen a documentary about that. The mermaid girl, absolutely tragic. She was my age. Or at least I was the age she was. Like, we were born quite close together. Finding out about her as a young adult, God, I wanted to give her a cuddle. And give Elle one as well, thinking that might get passed on. But honestly, she's pregnant! Ah! I love it. And of course, Akio and Amir, as people have said, timed it to Ben's and Mal's pregnancy.
Oh my god, the next generation's on its way.
Anyway, you guys know the drill. Like, comment, and subscribe, and hit that bell to get notified for whenever I upload a new video. Have a good day, night, or whatever time zone you're in. Bye, my guys, gals, and non-binary pals. I'll see you in another video. Take care.